Hi everyone. In today's video, I want to share with you some strategies that I used to keep myself motivated during my PhD. So my PhD was done as a part-time student because I was doing full-time work as an academic, and I was doing it as a part-time. So it was very hard for me to work the whole day and then get into my research. But I employed certain strategies on my own, which really helped me, which I used even till today to keep me motivated to do research. I don't want to get distracted. So the when I say that motivated to do research, I don't want to give you strategies like watch movies or go out with friends and or do something light-hearted like sports or gym. This is of course implied. This is absolutely, these are things that you should anyway do. When I talk about motivation strategies and that keeps you guided on your research journey as a research student, it could be a master's, honors, or a PhD research. I mean motivation strategies that help you guided on your research studies. Other things like watching movies, spending time with friends, it's very good for your mental health. That you should do anyway, whether you are doing research or not. If you are involved in a lot of heavy work, intense work, you're spending long time at the desk, you should be going out and doing exercise, walking, spending time with the family, doing things that are light-hearted. But today in this video, I want to discuss some strategies that I employed that kept me motivated to keep going on the research journey, because research is something that you should have passion for. But sometimes when you are a student, when you are studying to get an outcome like a PhD or a master's, it can get a bit boring, and it's a very lonely journey. By now you must have realized, unless you do a PhD, unless you do research yourself, you will never understand the journey of another researcher. It's a lonely journey. Although there are many people doing research, it's an individual journey, a journey that you take on yourself. Even though supervisors are there to guide you, they are busy and they will not understand what you go through individually as a student. So let's get into the strategies without wasting too much time. But I thought I'll give you some background as to why I want to discuss this video, because I have many PhD students and I take a lot of interest in their life, because I realize the relationship between a supervisor and a student should not be limited to only producing publications or writing the research chapters or thesis. It should go beyond it, because students are not prepared for the journey, and as supervisors, as experienced researchers ourselves, we need to guide them. So what are some of the strategies that I employed to keep me guided on the research journey? So one of the strategies I employed was writing publications. Now, when I say publications, I don't mean random publications. I mean writing conference papers, which don't take too much time. I mean trying to get papers out of my thesis chapters. Trying to get academic blogs out there. I mean, trying to get a couple of pages for the industry journal, industry-focused magazine, something that will not take too much of my time. My supervisor used to tell me that do not allow more than 3 or 4 days to do anything that distracts you from your research studies. So when I wrote like a industry report or a white paper or a conference paper as well, depending on the conference, I gave myself some time. I said, this is the time I'm going to spend on it. It took me away from the PhD, not completely. It still was helping me learn about the PhD topics. So conference papers that I produced during my candidature was part of the PhD studies, but the white papers and industry reports were sections or subsections that I necessarily did not want to go too deep into in my PhD, but I was interested in them. So I wrote a little bit about it as just as things that theoretizing, or theorizing, I think is the word, that just sending the idea out there in the industry to see what kind of message I receive. Attending conferences helps a lot, because you are doing networking, you are meeting people, meeting other researchers, you are having access to all these minds that will help you shape your thinking, that will give you a reality check as to the value of your research, how you should be going about it. So simply constraining yourself to people like your own supervisors or your own peers or your own fellow students who are doing research is not the best thing. You should go out there, meet people. So if you have the opportunity to attend local conferences which do not cost too much money, then go and please attend them. Attending any kind of workshops, conferences. Of course, if you have the opportunity to attend an international conference, you should definitely go for that. So don't think of conferences only as places where you can get your papers presented and published. That is of course very important, but it is also a very it's kind of those places where you get to meet people from various backgrounds. They could be from the industry, they could be from academia, and the knowledge and insight that they may have may be very different from what you are being exposed to. So these are a couple of things. The other thing that I did was, sometimes based on my research that I was publishing, I was called for radio interviews, and these were short interviews, local interview channels, or they were calling out, and I was going and being part of it. So sometimes I was being interviewed, sometimes my friends were being interviewed, and I would go there and participate, because this was teaching me how to present my research very easily, very simply, how to talk about it without pausing too much, without complicating it, presenting it to an audience that do not have the background that I have, or the knowledge that I have, or my academic peers have. Was something that I found very interesting. And it opens up a lot of outlets to you as well, because if media finds you very interesting, or they like your research, they would like to do more collaboration with you. And that brings me to my next strategy, collaboration. So sometimes being part of other people's research, and that doesn't have to necessarily be publications, because publications take time, right? So sometimes when you are doing a PhD, I always tell my students, focus on your PhD. A finished PhD is a good PhD. Otherwise, no matter how brilliant you are, if you don't finish your PhD, it's of no use. So when I say collaborations, I mean, it could be simply as helping somebody collect their data, being part of the interview process, being part of the focus group, filling up a survey, because it teaches you a lot about the process, especially if you have never been part of it. So seeing how other people record you, how are they conducting the interviews, how are they controlling for bias, how are they making sure that they address the ethical requirements, how are they handling with the consent forms, so these are things that you can learn by observing others, by learning from others, and making sure you are not making the same mistake or making mistakes when your research data collection stage comes. Doing a pilot study or being part of the pilot study is also a fantastic way to engage with research. It doesn't have to be research in your area, it doesn't have to be research even in your field, it can be any other field, but observing other researchers really gives you that motivation, it inspires you, it helps you to understand how you will frame your research. Another strategy is reviewing publications. Now, a lot of my students come to me and say, should I be reviewing publications? And of course, it is an editor's decision if they have allotted the paper to you based on your experience. Now, it depends on how experienced you are. Now, when you review papers, especially in your field, it exposes you to other research as well. It exposes you to other authors as well, people who are working on these problems. So that helps as well. Talking to international students, talking to international PhD students, or reading somebody's paper and contacting them, having a chat with them. It doesn't always have to have some objective, some outcome out of it. Just having a chat with people who are involved in research will open up your mind to new perspectives as well. Helping somebody write their ethics application, that is another way, because when you help somebody doing their work, when you help somebody doing work that you will be involved in future for yourself, these are like free practice runs you get. People who are working on the application, if they involve you, they ask you to study, review it, see what they are doing, see what mistakes they are making, how you can avoid these mistakes, and what kind of reviews, comments are they getting from the ethics committee, how can you address them, how can you make sure that your application doesn't get too many requests for changes and revisions, because ethics applications, especially in Australia, can sometimes be a long, convoluted and very demoralizing process, especially if your study involves study of humans and there is a way that you want to study them, but the ethics committee is not happy about the way you would go about protecting their mental and physical well-being. So these are things that you should not wait till the time that you have to do it for yourself. You can be part of others' journey and learn from it as well. So these were some of the things that I was doing. I can tell you one more thing I did was I used to attend graduation ceremonies of PhD students, because it was just a half a day thing, but it used to inspire me in some way or the other. I would imagine myself graduating as a PhD student, to keep going, and I would think that these people must have gone through the frustrating journey that I am going through, or the struggles that I'm going through, and they overcame it. So they stuck to it. They did not give up. And this is what I have to do as well. I have to stick to it. I can't give up. I have to be absolutely resilient, and I have to, even if I'm getting scathing comments and harsh comments from reviewers or examiners or supervisors, everybody goes through it. It helps me. And then you go and talk to them and you ask them, what did you do and how did you go about dealing it? So successful candidates, people who have successfully completed it, will have a different story to tell you from the people who are actually currently in the process. Their journey and their struggle and their success, or their strategies, will inspire you to employ some of that as well. So these were some of the things I did myself to keep myself motivated, because otherwise I used to feel very tired sometimes, and many a times I would think of just giving up. But my advice to you is, please don't give up. Keep going at it. Please share your strategies as well. How are you keeping yourself on track? And I would like to know it in the comments section. That is the whole idea of me behind making these videos, is for us to share our journey, and for you to know that there are other people out there who go through the same stuff as you. And thank you for watching, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you soon with my next video. Bye for now.